Welcome to the Memory and History channel. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Japanese prisoners of war on Guam bow their heads as Emperor Hirohito announces Japan's unconditional surrender on August 15, 1945. This moment ended World War II in the Pacific. Their solemn posture reflects shock and defeat. Chained Aboriginal prisoners in colonial Australia circa 1901. This horrific image exposes the brutal oppression and dehumanization of Indigenous Australians under British colonial rule. The chains symbolize systematic racial persecution and injustice that lasted generations. Deputy U.S. Marshal Edward W. Johnson photographed shortly before losing his right arm. This lawman represented frontier justice in America's Wild West. His dangerous profession often resulted in life-altering injuries. Johnson's sacrifice exemplified law enforcement's risks. A shell-shocked U.S. Marine photographed in Hue, Vietnam during 1968's brutal Tet Offensive. His 1,000-yard stare captures combat's psychological devastation. This haunting image became an iconic symbol of the Vietnam War's traumatic human cost on soldiers. A staff officer's car and military retinue traveling through China. This convoy represents foreign military presence during China's turbulent early 20th century. Colonial powers and military forces competed for influence across the vast, fractured nation during this era. German soldiers inspect an abandoned Canadian army. Daimler scout car after the disastrous Dieppe raid. This failed 1942 amphibious assault resulted in massive Allied casualties. The captured vehicle represents Canada's costly lessons learned before future successful operations. Riflemen from the 48th Highlanders of Canada take cover during German counterattack north of San Leonardo, Italy on December 10, 1943. Canadian troops fought fiercely throughout the brutal Italian campaign. Their courage helped liberate Italy from fascist control. A migrant woman wears her Sunday best before traveling to northern states in July 1940. Despite poverty, she maintains dignity and hope for better opportunities. This powerful image captures the Great Migration's determination and families seeking economic survival. Judy Garland takes a break on the set of The Wizard of Oz in 1939. The young actress endured grueling filming conditions while creating cinema's most beloved fantasy film. Behind the magic lay exhausting work and studio pressure. After Saarbrücken fell without resistance, a defeated German officer awaits his fate in ruins eating U.S. Army rations on March 22, 1945. Nazi Germany's collapse was imminent. This quiet moment reflects the war's bitter, exhausted final days. A lone South African communist in the street calls on police cavalrymen to shoot him during the Rand Revolt's early stages, 1922. This communist white supremacist uprising shook South Africa. The man's defiant gesture captured revolutionary desperation and political turmoil in Italian L-640. Light tank operating in Ukraine during 1942. Italian armored forces fought alongside Germans on the Eastern Front. These inadequate tanks struggled against superior Soviet armor. Italy's military weaknesses became devastatingly apparent in brutal Russian combat. Canadian soldiers aboard landing craft heading toward Juno Beach during D-Day, June 1944. These brave men faced terrifying amphibious assault against fortified German defenses. Canadian forces successfully secured their beachhead, contributing crucially to Normandy's liberation and Allied victory. Inge Morath's artistic photograph of Venice, Italy from 1955. The renowned Magnum photographer captured the romantic city's timeless beauty. Her work documented post-war Europe's recovery and enduring cultural heritage. Venice's canals and architecture inspired countless artists throughout history. A wife washes her coal miner husband after a long day's work in Chesterless Street, Durham, 1937. This intimate moment reveals mining families' difficult reality. The physically demanding, dangerous work left men exhausted. Wives provided essential care and support. An American soldier wears the crown of the Holy Roman Empire in a cave in Siegen, Germany on April 3, 1945. U.S. troops discovered Nazi hidden treasures and priceless artifacts. This irreverent moment captured victory's joy and Imperial power's humbling end. Water Street at Congress Street, Boston, Massachusetts, photographed in 1870 and 2020. This dramatic comparison shows urban transformation over 150 years. Historic buildings gave way to modern development. Boston evolved from a compact port city into a sprawling metropolitan area. Betty Lou Williams, born in Georgia in 1932, had a parasitic twin attached at her pelvis, lacking vital organs. Denied medical options, she was forced into carnivals. She died at 23, showing remarkable courage despite exploitation and suffering. Canadian soldiers conduct military exercises in Hong Kong. Before the Japanese invasion of the colony in 1941, these troops would soon face overwhelming Japanese forces. Many became prisoners of war enduring brutal captivity. Their sacrifice is remembered with honor. Douglas MacArthur as a brigadier general at St. Benoit Chateau, France in 1918. The future World War II legend served with distinction during the First World War. His leadership skills and military brilliance emerged early, foreshadowing his later historic Pacific Command. Tsar Nicholas II opens Russia's first State Duma at the Winter Palace on May 10, 1906. This parliamentary body represented limited democratic reform after the 1905 revolution. However, autocratic control persisted, leading eventually to the Romanov dynasty's violent overthrow. EM-1340 tanks from Italy's 132nd Armored Division Ariete near El Alamein in November 1942. These outdated Italian tanks faced superior British armor. The disastrous North African defeat marked Italy's military collapse and eventual Axis withdrawal from Africa. Milkmen learning how to milk a cow in Canada, 1927. This amusing training session shows urban workers mastering rural agricultural skills. The professional milk delivery industry required proper techniques. Even basic farming knowledge needed formal instruction for city-bred workers. Service women in uniform pose for a portrait during the 1940s. These military women served their country with dedication during World War II. Women's expanding military roles challenged traditional gender expectations. Their service proved essential to the Allied war effort, an Italian canone dei. Femmenweib sur Jumel artillery piece on the Alpine front in 1940. Mountain warfare required specialized equipment and tactics. Italian forces defended treacherous Alpine terrain against potential invasions. The harsh environment challenged soldiers as much as combat itself. Italian Arditi from the V and XXX shock battalions, photographed on August 21st, 1918. These elite assault troops pioneered modern close-quarters combat tactics. The feared Arditi influenced future special forces worldwide. Their aggressive tactics terrorized enemy trenches throughout World War I. Catch of the day. An American cyanotype photograph from 1899 showing a successful fishing expedition. This early photographic process created distinctive blue-toned images. The photograph documents everyday life and leisure activities at the 19th century's end beautifully. Jack Dempsey versus Georges Carpentier, billed as the fight of the century on July 2, 1921. This historic boxing match produced the first $1 Million Gate. The bout captivated America and demonstrated boxing's massive commercial appeal and cultural significance. shepherd from Karakechdi village with his children in Azerbaijan during the 1980s. This Soviet-era photograph captures traditional pastoral life, persisting despite modernization. Rural families maintained centuries-old herding traditions. The image preserves disappearing ways of life and cultural heritage. Soldiers endure brutal conditions on the Russian front during World War II. The Eastern Front's extreme cold killed as many as combat itself. German and Soviet forces battled through devastating winters. Frostbite and hypothermia claimed countless victims throughout campaigns. On November 7, 1919, the first Palmer raid occurred on the Russian Revolution's second anniversary. Over 10,000 suspected communists and anarchists were arrested in 23 U.S. cities. This massive crackdown represented the Red Scare's peak in civil liberties violations. A tranquil view through the canals of pre-war Hamburg, Germany. This peaceful scene preceded the city's devastating wartime destruction. Allied bombing raids would eventually obliterate much of Hamburg. The photograph preserves the beautiful architecture, lost to war's brutality and fire. Japanese kamikaze pilots prepare for their final suicide missions in 1945. These young men faced certain death-attacking Allied ships. Desperate Japanese tactics reflected their losing war position. The pilots' sacrifice demonstrated both courage and warfare's tragic waste of youth. Children attend calligraphy class at school in the Republic of Uzice, 1941. This short-lived partisan-controlled territory in Yugoslavia maintained educational services despite war. Even amid conflict, communities prioritized children's education. The scene represents resilience and normalcy amid chaos. A Hungarian trench on the brutal Eastern Front during World War II. Hungarian forces allied with Nazi Germany fought Soviet troops. The harsh conditions and overwhelming Soviet power resulted in devastating Hungarian casualties. Many never returned from the frozen Russian battlefields. Political deportees walk away from Rome's Arc de Triomphe after rekindling the flame on the tomb of the unknown soldier in 1945. These former prisoners honored fallen partisans. The ceremony marked liberation from fascist oppression and celebrated Italy's resistance movement. Groundbreaking ceremony for the U.S. interstate highway system in 1956. This massive infrastructure project transformed American transportation and society. President Eisenhower championed the system after seeing Germany's autobahns. The highways reshaped cities, suburbs, and the entire American landscape. An armed revolutionary stands guard in front of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran during the Iran hostage crisis, November 1979. Iranian militants held 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. This crisis poisoned U.S.-Iran relations permanently and defined an era. Italian partisans in Rome during 1944's liberation from Nazi occupation. These resistance fighters risked everything opposing fascism and German control. Their courage and sacrifice helped liberate Italy. Partisan movements across Europe proved crucial to defeating Nazi tyranny and oppression. Captured Russian Maxim machine guns repurposed as anti-aircraft weapons. Armies frequently adapted captured equipment for new purposes. The reliable Maxim design served multiple nations throughout both world wars. Resourcefulness and improvisation characterized warfare when supplies were limited and scarce. Soviet and American troops fraternize on Elbe Day, 1945, marking their historic meeting in Germany. This joyful encounter symbolized Allied cooperation and Nazi Germany's imminent defeat. Soldiers from different worlds celebrated together briefly before Cold War tensions destroyed their friendship. Two ladies in traditional clothes from Ramallah photographed circa 1898 on glass negative. Their elaborate embroidered dresses showcase Palestinian cultural heritage. Traditional clothing represented regional identity, status, and craftsmanship. These early photographs preserve vanishing customs and dress traditions beautifully. Austrian-Hungarian soldiers' straw overshoes used during World War. These improvised insulated boots protected against extreme cold on the Eastern Front. Soldiers created practical solutions for brutal winter conditions. The makeshift footwear reflected resource shortages and desperate survival measures. Two young siblings with cherubic, piteous countenances with their sleeping baby sibling in Manhattan, 1918. This touching family portrait captures childhood innocence during difficult times. The Great War and Spanish flu pandemic created uncertainty. Children represented hope amid tragedy and loss. The Vickers Windsor MKI prototype, photographed in 1943. This experimental British heavy bomber never entered production. Changing wartime requirements and technical issues doomed the project. The aircraft represents countless ambitious designs that never reached. Operational service during war, the second-story bedroom window used in the kidnapping, and murder of aviator Charles Lindbergh's 2-year-old son, Charles Jr., at Highfields, New Jersey in March 1932. This tragic crime of the century shocked America. Bruno Hauptmann was convicted and executed. Mountain artillery crew operating in treacherous Alpine terrain during wartime. Specialized equipment and tactics enabled combat in extreme elevations. Soldiers hauled heavy guns up steep slopes under dangerous conditions. Mountain warfare demanded exceptional endurance, skill, and courage from all participants. People climbed the Berlin Wall in 1989 in front of a sign saying, "Attention! You are now leaving West Berlin with, but how?" Sprayed over it, this rebellious moment captured communism's collapse. Germany reunified in 1990 after 40 years separation. A Syrian army tank on Damascus streets during Salah Jadid's 1966 Ba'athist coup d'etat. Military coups repeatedly destabilized Syrian politics throughout the 20th century. This coup brought radical Ba'athist ideology to power. Syria's modern conflicts have roots in this turbulent political history. A P-63, King Cobra fighter aircraft with female workers circa 1944. American women contributed massively to wartime aircraft production. Rosie the Riveter became an iconic symbol of female empowerment. Women's factory work proved essential to Allied victory and transformed gender roles. A woman uses an electric wringer for laundry in Malheur County, Oregon, 1941. This modern appliance reduced the backbreaking labor of washing clothes. Rural electrification transformed American domestic life. Technology gradually liberated women from exhausting household chores throughout the 20th century. General Peter Hoffmann visits his troops in a Carpathian mountain trench. Military leaders inspecting frontline positions boosted soldier morale. The Carpathian campaigns involved brutal mountain warfare between Austro-Hungarian and Russian forces. Leadership visibility mattered greatly to troops enduring horrific conditions. The Imperial German Postal Agency in Zanzibar with its staff photographed in 1890. German colonial presence extended across Africa during the late 19th century. Postal services connected far-flung colonies to Europe. This outpost represented European imperialism's extensive reach and administrative infrastructure. First aid post on the Piave riverfront during World War I. Medical personnel treated wounded soldiers near combat zones. These forward positions saved countless lives through rapid treatment. Field medicine advanced significantly through wartime necessity, improving future civilian health care dramatically. A Bachabazi dance performance in Samarkand, Russian Empire, 1910. This controversial Central Asian tradition involved young boys performing dances. The practice reflected complex cultural dynamics in the region. Western photographers documented these customs. During Imperial expansion and colonial ethnographic studies, Judy Garland takes a break on the set of The Wizard of Oz in 1939. 16-year-old actress endured grueling filming conditions creating cinema history. Behind the magical movie lay exhausting work, studio pressure, and difficult circumstances. For the young star, Officers of the South, Matanzas Brigade of the Cuban Liberation Army, Photographed between 1895 and 1898, these men fought Spanish colonial rule for Cuban independence. Their struggle eventually succeeded with American intervention. Cuba's liberation inspired anti-colonial movements throughout Latin America. A somber memorial or grave marker with the inscription, "Unfortunately, not everyone came home." This poignant reminder honors those who sacrificed everything in war. Countless soldiers never returned to their families. Their ultimate sacrifice demands remembrance, gratitude, and respect from future generations. Cuban Liberation Army Cavalry Unit outside a house in San Luis, Pinar del Rio, where Major General José Miguel Gómez Gómez stayed during the 1895 war. These mounted soldiers fought Spanish colonial forces throughout Cuba's countryside. Cavalry remained crucial for mobility and rapid deployment. The boxing match between Jack Bloomfield versus Tommy Gibbons at Old Wembley Stadium on August 9th, 1924. The Empire Stadium was built for the British Empire exhibition, costing $750,000. This venue became England's most iconic sporting location for decades. Ceremony of Emperor Showa's Hirohito enthronement in Shishinden Hall, 1928. This elaborate ancient ritual continued Japan's imperial tradition dating back centuries. Hirohito would reign through World War II and beyond. His controversial role during wartime remains debated by historians today. After the Battle, by Roland Strasser, depicts the devastating aftermath of combat. Soldiers and civilians faced death's reality and war's destruction. This artistic work captures the tragedy, loss, and human cost that followed every military engagement throughout history's countless conflicts. The initial members of the Roosevelt-Rondon scientific expedition in Brazil's Amazon rainforest, December 1913, former President Theodore Roosevelt joined Brazilian explorer Cândido Rondon exploring uncharted territories. This dangerous journey nearly killed Roosevelt, but produced valuable scientific discoveries and geographic knowledge. Cuban Liberation Army Cavalry in Villa Clara, circa 1898. These mounted revolutionaries fought for independence from Spanish colonial rule. The Cuban War of Independence succeeded with American intervention in the Spanish-American War. Cuba gained independence after centuries of Spanish control and oppression. Soldiers from the 28th Infantry Regiment, 17th Infantry Division Pavia in North Africa, 1941-42. Italian forces fought alongside Germans against British Commonwealth troops. The harsh desert conditions and superior Allied forces resulted in Italy's eventual defeat and withdrawal from Africa.